Man, this was not how I planned on having the first episode of All In with Nate this season. Very, 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 very irritated. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I'm very irritated with the way that game played out. As you know, the Falcons lost 27-26 is the final score. That was a ball game that they had no business losing. You have no business losing a ball game when you're up 16 in the fourth quarter. That was a very unacceptable loss. And I have to say that I have 4 different angles who I blame on that loss. And number one is going to be coaching. Number one is coaching that I blame on this loss, because Arthur Smith went totally conservative at a point late in that ball game. And you cannot go small. You cannot go conservative when you have a lead that late in the game. Even with the New Orleans rally they made, like Michael Thomas started getting off late in the fourth quarter. Also got to throw the blame on Dean Pease. Michael Thomas started getting loose, and you continue to have A.J. Terrell matched up one-on-one with a very talented receiver in Michael Thomas. I don't care if he's coming off of an injury from 2 years ago or he's coming off a hamstring. There was a point where this guy was a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. And late in that fourth quarter, he made plays that put them in position to win that ball game. End up scoring 2 touchdowns to tie the game, to come close to tying the game. Knowing your history for blowing games, it's 26-24. You got a gifted first down because of Marcus Lattimore doing some dumb Marcus Lattimore stuff. On 3rd down and 1, number one, Marcus Mariota. He's another factor in this. As decent as he played, he was also at fault for us losing this game as well. And one of the reasons I'm going to say that is 3rd down and 1. Cordero Patterson has over 100 yards rushing, 5.5 yards a carry in this ball game. You run a freaking number one motion a ton of times throughout the game, and you come out there and you mishandle the snap. You still manage to get back to the line of scrimmage to make it 4th and 1. And you go along, and instead of, this is where I go back to Arthur Smith, it's 4th and 1 at about the 47, 48 yard line. I don't care if they don't get the first down. I'm not giving the New Orleans Saints the ball back after they just gave me 2 touchdowns, back-to-back drops. I'm not giving them the ball back up 2, and they have an opportunity to move the ball. That is not how you handle coaching. This is a rivalry game. That roster, yes, that roster is better than the Atlanta Falcons on paper today. But that's a ball game you don't lose at home in front of your sellout home crowd. And by the way, I was at the game. Of course, y'all know I'm a season ticket holder. You do not lose ball games like that and expect to keep people in that building. That's not going to happen. You got the Rams, who's coming off of a bad loss to the Bills next week in LA. How are you going to handle playing that game after you just blew a 16-point lead at home? You got to look at yourself. And then, I don't know if anyone have seen the Arthur Smith interview. He gets on the podium and have the audacity to get angry at the media for talking about the Falcons having a bad season. Well, guess what you just did? You did not make it any better for that team. This is a game you don't blow at home. And much credit to the Saints. They did what they had to do to get back in the game more. That's what they did. They got back in the game. They came up with a big-time stop, stripping the ball of Marcus Mariota on that 3rd down. We were up 13, had a shot to potentially put that game out of reach. And then, of course, they didn't score on that possession. But again, they were getting field goals. We were kicking field goals. We had the ball a lot, and they kept holding it to field goal attempts. They did enough to win that ball, for their defense to win that ball game. And I want to go ahead and clear this also for everyone that's watching the stream, that's tuned in. I do not want to sit here and put a issue of a blame on the players on defense. Let me be very clear about this. When you're up 16 in the fourth quarter, there was no reason to go zone with 12 minutes left in the ball game. Jameis might have his moments, but Jameis Winston at one point was a 5,000-yard passer in this league. You have Chris Olave Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry on that receiving core? Why are you allowing zone coverage? That is on Dean Pease. You had 4 sacks in this game. Grady had 2. Lorenzo Carter got a half sack. Your rookie, Arnold Ebiketie, he got a sack. You had guys making plays on defense. You got a big turnover, which was the drive that happened to be the Marcus Mariota fumble that gave the ball back to the Saints. But you had opportunities to win the ball game. Your defense did enough. I'm not going to be that typical casual fan and say, oh, well, the defense lost this game. We're not going to do that. We will not do that on this stream and not with me. So if you want to go on here blaming the defense, that's not you coming to the wrong place, because I'm not going to do that. The defense did enough to win the ball game. Your offense kicked several field goals. You're up 16. Dean Pease decided he didn't want to blitz no more. Dean Pease wanted to go zone coverage and match A.J. Terrell up one-on-one with Michael Thomas. I have an issue with that. Then Casey Harris gave that big 40-yard completion to Jarvis Landry on the go-ahead field goal drive to the Saints. You lost this game that you had won. And let me be clear about this thing. Yes, the Falcons are in rebuild mode. They are rebuilding. This team is going through a transition. But even in transition, you don't lose ball games like that. That's the type of games to show the progression that you're making. What you did just then is show how far apart you are from winning ball games, how far apart you are from knowing how to close games. That was the Washington game last season. That was a Chicago game in 2020. That was a Dallas game in 2020. Show me something different that you didn't do compared to the previous Falcon era. Then you show me that, okay, we're making progression. Because again, New Orleans has a very talented roster, but you had this ball game won. Called a good game, don't know how to close it. Let me go to the comments real quick. Darius, what's up, bro? He said Arthur Smith fall. Absolutely. Arthur Smith, this game could cost him down the road. It could cost him his job down the road, because that's a bad way to lose a ball game. I'm not going to be that fan that just go out here and say, well, the player should have did this, player should have did that. These guys put you in position to be up 16. Those coaches let you down today. Somebody made a quote that says, football is simple, the coaches make it hard. And that is the God honest truth. He was trying to overdo it. He went conservative. He wanted to sit here to play not to lose, and you lost a bad game. You blew the game. There's nothing that you can really sit here and defend yourself on. You can't defend that loss. And now you got to go to LA again, like I mentioned, and deal with a team that's coming off a embarrassing opening night loss on Thursday Night Football. They're going to be jacked up to play the Falcons. Then, again, 92-9 the game. I don't know if you, for the people that lives in Atlanta that listen to the radio, 92-9 the game discussed about how the Falcons have to make it their business to show people this is what you're coming to games for. The Falcons had a sellout home crowd in Mercedes-Benz today. The Falcons had a sellout home crowd. And I give it to our team a lot about it. But again, we had a sellout home crowd today. You had an opportunity to show the whole fan base we can win a game, especially a rivalry game like the game against the New Orleans Saints. But you went out there and blew that game. That was a typical Falcon loss. And it's sad to say it. You would have thought that they would have learned their lesson from years prior. But it's the same thing. It's the same thing. And that's a sad way to put it. So, just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. We go to the comments. What's going on, bro? He said facts. AJ Evans said, big bad Dean Pease called zone defense when he had the sacks. That is the issue I had. And when they started hitting completions, when Olave started hitting completions, when Juwan Johnson got a big completion, that drive that they marched for a minute and some change, right after we went up 16, they were in complete soft zone. And I was saying it at the game. I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we in soft zone as if this game is still not far from being over? It's the fourth quarter. It's 12 minutes left in the game, not 2. You go zone coverage when you have a double-digit lead under 3 minutes left in that ball game, not 12 minutes left in the ball game. They immediately made it a ball game and cut it to 8. And we couldn't do anything after that. And that's, again, on Dean Pease. Your defense got after the Saints' offensive line, which was a highly big surprise because New Orleans have had a pretty talented offensive line for years. Of course, they lost to Ron Armstead in offseason to the Dolphins. And then, what's his name? Trevor Penning, he has an injury that he was dealing with. And you took advantage of the opportunities and got after the quarterback. Again, yes, the Falcons, the score was 27-26. But I'm not going to be that guy to sit here and totally blame the defense when the defense did enough to win the ball game for you. For a team that don't have the best talent on defense, they did enough. Your offense let you down. And that's what I have an issue on. Duane said, Bully, like that, his job, he's done if he has a bad season, especially losses like that. He's done if they have another horrible season. And again, I'm not having high expectations for the Falcons. I have zero expectations for this team. If you want me to be real with you guys, I have no expectations for this team. But again, losing like that, there's nothing you can really defend about that. I don't care if we're in rebuild. I don't care if we're the worst team in football. The coach just tied with the Texans, who's had worse situations than us. Detroit was a top 5 draft pick team. They gave Philadelphia, who was my pick to win the NFC, all kind of fits. Miss me with that. It'd be one thing if there was a back and forth, New Orleans just squeaked it out and won by a field goal or anything like that. However, you lost a ball game. You had a 16-point lead in. You were physical enough to win the game. That's the problem here. And again, when is enough for the players in the organization, for Arthur Blank, for the coaching staff? When is enough? It comes a point where you got to stop being so content with losing games like that. We're not saying that. I have no expectations for this team. Once again, the squad is still in rebuild, but it's the way you're losing games. That's the issue that's going to stand forever with this ball club. You're losing dumb games right now. That was ridiculous. And when I pulled up the stat line, the stat's going to make it even worse. You did enough to win. I don't have any more. I'm really disgusted right now, to be honest with you guys. And I'm supposed to have zero expectations. I still, to this day, have zero expectations for this team. But it's just bad. It's a bad look. All right, let's see. AJ said, also, what offensive guru thought 5-yard ducks to a backup tight end with 20 seconds? I don't understand. I didn't understand the play calling there. I didn't understand the play calling by Arthur Smith for several times throughout the game. Kyle Pitts didn't get going or even be paying. They didn't pay him attention until late in the game. There were several times as a fan watching the game, I'm like, bro, you have Kyle Pitts one-on-one. Take advantage of number 21 for the Saints. Take advantage of the fact that you're moving the ball. Your run sets up the pass. He should have been airing that ball out all over the field in this ball game, and he didn't do it. They were so conservative to the point where they were way too conservative. You drafted Kyle Pitts, number 4, to not involve him. He out there blocking. Yes, that's part of your job in the NFL. Get your tight end involved. And guess what? It's going to show, okay, it's going to look like, okay, the Falcons, well, they shut down Kyle Pitts. Nobody shut down Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts didn't even get involved in a ball game. You can't shut down somebody that's not involved in the game plan. They didn't even look that direction. And that's my issue with the team. And you're getting Ferkser, I think that's who it was that was getting the ball a lot, or Hesse, either or. You're getting them opportunities when you have a Pro Bowl tight end and Kyle Pitts on your team. A defensive mismatch. Yes, it's on Arthur Smith. Next comment said, I hate to say it, but we're not a good fourth quarter team and haven't been since the Super Bowl loss we had. We definitely had this game in the fourth quarter. They blew it, had too many opportunities to win the game. Yes, we did. We had way too many opportunities to win this ball game. And that's where my frustration comes in with this Falcons squad today. and really on Arthur Smith, because one, Mariota had that ridiculous fumble on 3rd and 5 where he got the first down and didn't hold on to the ball. If you hold on to the ball there, you're probably up 20, because New Orleans was not stopping you within the 5. They didn't do it all game. You were moving the ball with ease. You were giving opportunities away. You would drive the field and then have something dumb happen. You had a play action where Drake London didn't even get the ball. They played too conservative to lose this ball game, and it came back to haunt them. You can't get mad eventually when your defense can't do enough. They kept you in the game. New Orleans scored 17 fourth quarter points after the defense did enough. They gave up 3 points in the 3rd quarter, which is a typically bad quarter for the Falcons. If you've been a Falcon fan long enough, you know we are horrible in the 3rd quarter. But again, they played well enough to win the game, and then the offense didn't help them out. The Falcons got to stop the opening drive of the game, and the offense went 3 and out. Then we caught a break because what's his name? Will Lutz missed the field goal after we had a completion and Zacchaeus fumbled the ball back to the Saints. So you gave 2 possessions back to the Saints, where you look at that hindsight, you needed those possessions now because you lost the game. Again, just a pitiful showing. Darius said, I don't see us winning in LA. I see us 0-2, so do I. A championship team is going to respond next week after getting blown out at home by the Bills. They're going to be jacked up. I don't care if it's the Falcons. They're not going to come out and take us lightly because they're not going to start 0-2 in the NFC West. That's not going to happen. When we start off 0-2, neither would I. I'm going into that game writing it as a loss. That's just my personal opinion. That doesn't make me not a real fan. I'm being an honest fan. I'm being honest with you. Those kind of games like that can affect your team's mental for the rest of the season. And I don't know what they're going to look like the rest of the way. AJ Evans said the Saints probably double-digit pressures and 4 sacks. Mariota didn't get sacked, and just like last year, we didn't want to throw the ball more than 10-ish yards, around 5 yards per pass attempt. Yes, they did. The Falcons got enough that they needed to get after the Saints. And here's going to be the problem. Here's the thing for the Saints. The Saints got a chance to see their offensive line was really not that good this game. But the thing is, give Jameis time. Those weapons are going to get open. Those guys are going to move the ball. The Falcons defense held Alvin Kamara to 39 yards rushing. That's the story. Certain things that you had to come in to do to win the game, they did. You had them to 39 yards rushing. Kamara was a non-factor in this game. Taysom Hill had 81 yards rushing, and a lot of it came on that drive that they took the lead on early in the game. But they didn't do enough. And like you said, the Falcons are scared to throw the ball downfield except for that one time where we got that pass interference. But other than that, we dink and dunk. That's fine and all to move the ball. But sometimes take that chance. You got weapons to do it. And they didn't do that. Let's see. There's this real sweet from Matt Ryan. And right now, I didn't get a chance to see them play. Ty, what's up, bro? He said, Matt, he went out today. I didn't get a chance to see them play. Of course, I haven't seen any games today because I've been at the stadium all game. And Amy, hey, sis, I know. Facebook user said they got to stop being comfortable with big leads in the NFL. They should not been in the zone coverage with a lot of time left. Yes, that was my issue right there. You just said it perfect. The Falcons had no business being in zone coverage with 12 minutes remaining in the ball game. We had no business doing that. And that was what irritated me more than anything else. That was the frustrating part about that game. Let's see. Alex, what's going on, bro? He said they got a lot down the middle. They beat us. Yes, they did. They started cooking us across the middle, and nobody made an adjustment. They were killing that middle. Juwan Johnson got a big catch. What's his name? Michael Thomas was catching on the outside, but they started eating on that middle, just like you said. And I was actually at the game saying they got to lock that middle up because now they're starting to see some lanes open up for this offense, and they just took advantage of it. Oh my God. The one said, what did the weaker wide receiver do? Drake had, I think, 70 yards receiving. I got to pull the stats up, and I'll show it to you shortly. Also, our quarterback was throwing it too quick. Not enough time to run. Yes, that's another thing. And it wasn't even like the offensive line had a bad day. They had a good day, truth be told. He didn't get sacked against a very talented New Orleans defense. He did not get sacked one time. One time. He didn't get sacked. But, of course, they were quick throw. You can't do that. If you're not giving yourself time to develop routes, you're not winning the ball game. You're not. It's just, man, I tell y'all, I'm trying my hardest not to really go in on these guys right now, but I feel for the players on the team. I really do, because the defense, as young as they are, they gave everything they could to win that game. And don't get me wrong, I'm not coming on here to bash Mariota. Mariota overall played a decent game. It was just the mental mistakes, that fumble on 3rd and 1, the fumble on 3rd and 5, where he should have got a first down, should have been 1st and goal, and you probably can punch it in and go up 20. It's the timing of those things when it happened. And then it's like they didn't want to let him loose. They didn't want to let him loose in the game, and that's a problem. They didn't want to let him loose. I just let me pull the stats up. Because as y'all can tell, I'm just disgusted with them. I'm not even hurt about losing the game. Of course, as a fan, I want to beat the Saints. They're our division rival. But again, you just cannot do that. Chauncey, what's going on, bro? He said you got to be able to throw the ball. Yeah, you got to be able to throw the ball too. You got to be able to throw the ball as well, and they didn't even attempt to try it with him. Also said most definitely got to find a way around Thomas. He kept them alive. Yes, he did. He kept them alive. He kept them. His completions were huge, and especially that first touchdown he caught. If Jameis made a heck of a throw, because I thought it was getting intercepted, and they let the Pro Bowler get involved in the game when it was at the worst time possible. But let me go show you guys. I'm pulling up the stat line from the game just to show you guys what the Falcons did today. And on a positive note, I do want to throw this out there about the game. Let me give credit to the offensive line. As I mentioned, they didn't give up a sack all game. And I will say that Drew Dahlman showed today why he won the center job in preseason. He had a great day blocking for Cordero Patterson. He had an outstanding day, actually, blocking for Cordero Patterson. And let's go to the stat line. As you can see, guys, Jameis had 23 of 34, 269, 2 touchdowns, and got sacked 4 times. A lot of his big plays happened in the fourth quarter. Mariota was 20 of 33 with 215, no touchdowns, no picks, and no sacks. As you also see, the Falcons contained Alvin Kamara to 9 carries for 39 yards. Taysom Hill had 4 for 81. Taysom Hill was their leading rusher. When you tapped a leading rusher in Taysom Hill, that's a dub for you. It should be a dub for you. And that's another thing. Let me go to the comment. Let's see. AJ Terrell needs to do a better job guarding Mike Thomas and maybe double team Mike Thomas and not play zones in the game. I don't even think that was on AJ Terrell. I think that was more so on Dean Pease, because most guys, they played Michael Thomas to be still not healthy. And as we saw today, that didn't matter. He had a day. And that's the sad part about it. Chauncey also said defensive line showed up in the call. Yes, he did. And I'm glad that you pointed that out. The defensive line had a day. Arnold Ebiketie had a day getting after the Saints. So did Yeah, so did Grady Jarrett. Grady Jarrett did what Grady does best. Got 2 sacks in the game. He did what he had to do to win this game for us. He did his thing. Also, the thing is with the Falcons, you also saw Lorenzo Carter got after the quarterback as well. He had a good day too. I was very, very pleased with how our defense showed up. Like they showed up today. But yet again, you blew this game based on coaching because they wanted to stop rushing. Jameis had no answer when they were putting pressure on him, but they stopped, and I don't understand that. I will never understand why they did that. That was awful. Let me go to the next comment. Alan said, first thing I saw was, where was that? It made a difference. And that's another thing. Having a mobile quarterback paid dividends for that scheme today because they didn't have a number one. The beauty of that game, why the Falcons jumped out the way they did, there's no tape on the Falcons. There's no tape on Marcus Mariota in that scheme. There's no tape on how to slow that scheme down. So the Saints were really playing, just trying to figure it out. The Falcons had enough that they could do to win that ball game. It's just, they blew it. It's just no other way to put it. AJ Evans said there was some stat where like the Saints haven't allowed 100 yards. Yes, the Saints have been well known as being one of the top 3 to 5 rushing defenses in the league. At a point, they were number 1 in the league, stopping the run. And they gave up 120 to Cordero Patterson, who, by the way, why are you not giving him the ball on 3rd down and 1? Why? As you saw, Mariota had 12 carries for 72 yards and a touchdown. Again, taking nothing away from Marcus Mariota. This has no reason. You have no reason having him touch the ball that much. It's cool to run some, but goodness, he's getting the 2nd most carries on the team today. That's too much. Okay, as you see, let's go down to this receiving. For the New Orleans Saints in receiving, Jarvis Landry had 7 for $114. That 40-yard one was big. He had a couple big catches too in that game. Michael Thomas 5 for 57 and 2 touchdowns. That was all really in the 4th quarter. Juwan Johnson had that big 26. He had that big 26-yarder that really got that comeback started. And as you see, Kamara 3 of 7. The Falcons did an outstanding job against Marcus Mariota on defense. They did a great job. But of course, here we are, sitting here at the loss. Makes no sense. Drake London, the rookie, had 5 of 7 for 74, had a 31-yard catch. He had 7 targets. Now, 2 of the ones, one of them, he completely mistimed it. He could have had a big lane and he catch the ball. Darius said that the scheme has been revealed. Now, I don't even think the scheme is totally revealed now. I think the Falcons just did a bad job of finishing. AJ said, I blame Mariota for the 2 fumbles, but he was still, yeah, I agree. He had those 2 untimely fumbles, but overall, he played a good game. Like, he did enough for us to win the game. He says the game was in the bag, still a little work needed, but his position. Yes, that's the part that's the one thing I want to say. Despite I've seen the potential in this team competing against a respectable opponent like the New Orleans Saints. That's what I hate the most. That was a game to win, to really show this is the direction that we're headed in. Because all in all, the Falcons showed some positive signs in this game. Losing that game, the way they lost that game, hurt them. Because truly, they could have won the game. You clean up mistakes up. Like you said, it's sad because the potential is there. I've seen something that I haven't seen in the Falcon offense in a while. That offense did enough. They played well. But you also settled for a lot of field goals in this game as well. That's another thing that hurt the Falcons. They settled for a lot of field goals in this game. KD Bailey, what's up, bro? He said also hated that Tyler Algier was inactive. Could have used him on some. Yes, that also came back to haunt us. Because as great as Cordero Patterson was in the game, you need a big body back on those 3rd and shorts. You could, it makes me think about like Quadri Allison, who you all remember had a good preseason, that was in our backfield as well. Somebody, if you get a physical back to get that 1 or 2 yards, we're not even having a conversation of a blown game. This is a Falcons win if you have that happen in your favor as well. That's a good point you brought up. Okay, now the fumbles. Here's the big part of the game. Marcus Mariota fumbled and lost one of them. The recovery was that 3rd and 1 that ended up being a key big-time play for the New Orleans Saints to really spark that come from behind win. Zacchaeus had that catch and fumble, if you can remember that early in the game. AJ said we didn't really have one after we had CP. No, Damian Williams was the second running back, and then he got hurt in the game. So that's what Avery started carrying the ball. Alex said, facts, field goal's cool, but a touchdown. Yeah, we moved the ball throughout the game, and it's frustrating because you moved the ball throughout the game, but you didn't finish the job. You were getting in the red zone. The drive where it was the 26-10 lead. The Falcons moved the ball. They absolutely moved the ball. It was crazy. Like, we were moving the ball. That I was thinking, okay, this is the put-away drive, but we settled for a field goal. Not who knew at the time that was going to come back and hunt us down the road. Who knew that? Man, who knew that? But on to the rest of the stats. As you saw, Mark Ingram had that big fumble, if you all remember, on that 3rd down. And that was also the fumble that was prior to the Marcus Mariota fumble to get them a big stop. As you see, that's from the tackles. Pete Warner led the Saints in tackles with 13. Richie Grant had 10 for the Falcons. Michael Walker got a sack. Grady Jarrett got a sack and a half. Lorenzo Carter got a half sack. Arnold Ebiketie, the rookie, got a sack. As you saw, the Falcons got 4 sacks. And just think about this. If you telling me the Falcons got 4 sacks and a Cam Jordan, a Marcus May, Tyrann Mathieu, and that defense gets 0, I'm thinking we won the game. That is why I said I'm not going to put the complete blame on the Falcons defense because it was coaching. The guys got after the quarterback. I was very impressed with those guys, especially Arnold Ebiketie. If you remember, he's a 2nd round pick out of Penn State. He was worth the draft pick. Very impressed with the guy. Let's go to the next comment. He said, Mark had to make better decisions when we run the ball. I don't know why Dean Pease caught off the run. Thank you. Everybody has the same question for Dean Pease. Why did you call off what you are known best for doing in the 4th quarter? I did not understand that. I don't care if they're up 16. I'm trying to put them away, and he didn't do that. Very embarrassing. You call me crazy if I said the Falcons played better than Alabama yesterday. Difference is the game management and the Falcons failed. Yes, they did. The Falcons failed in late game management, and it's an issue that stems even deeper than this current team. There's been issues with the previous organization. The previous regime doing the same thing. You have to be able to win the game when it matters the most. You're not finishing these close games. You got to finish the close games. This could have been a big start off for the season for the Falcons because going into LA, even if you lost week 2, you could say, hey, we got a big win against the Saints at home. We went up there and got a chance to see what did we fare against the defending Super Bowl champions in the New Orleans Saints. But again, you blew the game by simply not finishing the game. That is the frustrating part about this. You didn't finish. It's not the loss. You didn't finish. Maybe just me, but all the field goals is what led to the last field goal failure. They saw it too many times and picked it apart. The Saints are really good at blocking field goals. And when we got that attempt, I'm like, oh my God, is he gonna actually hit this? But they drew up the right scheme, drew up the right movement, and they ended up making him miss the field goal. So it just sucks because we shouldn't have had to even put ourselves in that position. We should have executed better. It's just frustrating. It's just frustrating, guys. Let me show the game stats real quick. This is the individual stats from the players. No picks by either team. No kick returns by either team. The Falcons forced 3 punts. As you can see, the Saints had both kickers missed one field goal, and both punters had several punts in the game. Let's go to the team stats for the game. I'm going to show that. As you can see, the Falcons had more first downs, 5 of 13 on third down. The Falcons held them to 4 of 13 on third down, got 5 of them on penalties. The Falcons ran more plays than the Saints, more yards than the Saints, one more drive than the Saints. Saints averaged more yards per play. They lit us up in that fourth quarter on the ground. The Falcons ran for 200 yards. This is even more embarrassing looking at the stat line that we lost that ball game. 200 yards on the ground. When is the last time you've seen the Falcons run for over 200 yards on the ground? It's been at least a couple of years. And you lose the game. 5 yards a carry. The Saints had 151, but 81 of that was from Taysom Hill on that one drive that gave them the lead. And that is so crazy. AJ said we dropped 2 interceptions, but I don't blame Jalen Hopkins. Dude made a good play to even contest it. Yes, that if one of those picks happened, that's another point in the game. But again, like you said, I can't even blame the interceptions. Jordan said, checking in. What's going on, bro? So, yeah, that's another thing. They were dead even in penalties. The Saints had 99 yards penalties. The Falcons had 55 yards. Another key point in the game, the Saints made it to the red zone 3 times, scored every single time. The Falcons went 2 of 4 in the red zone. Falcons had more turnovers than the Saints as well in this game. And look at this right here. The Falcons led the time of possession by a full 7 minutes. By a full 7 minutes. Again, you did everything you could to close a win out, but win the game. Let's see. He said defense disappointed me in the fourth. Yeah, to be honest, the defensive coordinator, that defensive coordinator definitely hurt us in the game because the Falcons defense got after that. They got after Jameis Winston in that game, got 4 sacks, got stops. They just didn't finish. He said that the losses on this is on Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith is at fault too. We're not gonna exclude Arthur Smith. Dean Pease is at fault as well. He definitely. I'm gonna put it like this: Dean Pease lit the match for this comeback, but Arthur Smith did nothing to make sure that it didn't stop. Because Arthur Smith called a great 3 quarters. Dean Smith called a great 3 quarters. It was the fourth quarter where they didn't finish. Alan said the incompletion didn't help, but they get the time down to be a weapon. Yes, I see the potential in what they were doing. For what we played, like the Falcons, you saw the potential in what this team want to be and what's going to get them back into their winning ways. They just didn't finish the job. AJ said they playing the brand of football they want. Yes, that's exactly what I was getting to. They played the brand of football that they want to win in this league with that scheme, but they just didn't finish. Okay, Jordan said we have to stop these mental mistakes. Yes, we do. We have to stop those mental mistakes big time, and it happens too much. Arlo said we can't do this next week. We got to listen. That Rams team is going to be ready for us. That team going to be ready for us. They're coming off a bad loss. They're going to be ready for us. They're going to have to play a pretty much perfect game to win that ball game. And Darius said, man, Arthur is the reason for the season. I like that. I definitely like that. But, I have to put a lot of blame on that. And George said the Saints shouldn't score the last 2. We went prevent. And when you start going prevent, that opposing defense is going to eat you alive every single time. And it just hurt us. It hurt us. And that was a hard loss. That was a hard loss for the Falcons. And let me make sure. Okay, is that everything else? I want to see they have the attendance up here because the Falcons had a good crowd. I want to see if they have it up here. They don't have it up here yet. They probably have it later. I was hoping they had it up here. Nah, that's the game cast. Okay, they don't have it up there. But again, as I mentioned, the Falcons lost a close game. They really had anything. And I'll say this. if I say this, I feel as if they should keep Jared on the outside. He really impressed me. I, for one, was impressed with the setup of the line up front. I like Lorenzo Carter and Ebiketie being on the outside with Grady Jarrett in the middle. Rush was getting snaps there by him. Taquan Graham was getting snaps there by him. That's the one thing that we saw some positives. Again, it was a horrible ending, but they had a good showing. That's the sad part about it. I hate they didn't finish the game. I hate they didn't finish it. Kevin said I have to look at the positives of this game. I'm definitely looking at the positives as well. The issue I have is are still the problem not being able to finish games. Good team, bad team or not, you have to finish games. This is going to become a key factor in the future. So that's something the Falcons have to worry about doing. AJ said, don't worry, we will totally beat a hungry Super Bowl champion team at home. Got to be on the prayer line for that one. But, okay, I think I've covered enough comments as today. As, of course, the Falcons lost 27-26. It was a good ball game, but the Falcons just falconed at the end. And, again, I'll be on here sometime this week to talk about the preview of the Rams game. I don't really feel good about that game. However, got to be done, and they're going to go to L.A., so we'll see what happens the rest of the way. Hold on, I'm going to hit this one comment. I'm so glad that you just mentioned this. What did you think about Arthur's press conference comments? I thought that was the weakest display of a head coach I've ever seen in my life after a loss. You said the media wrote you off in the summer. Are you that pressed? You didn't make it look better. You blew a 16-point lead. What is the media supposed to say then? Oh, it's okay. You lost by 1 point. We're going to be okay. No. No. That was a pathetic response by Arthur Smith, because you should have took that like the head coach that you are and take accountability for losing this ball game. That's what you do. You don't go up there and talk about who wrote who off. I mean, Mike Smith back in the day, we were projected to go 1-15 in 2008 when Matt first got here. We ended up making the playoffs that year. And you just see Mike Smith get up there talking about, well, you guys wrote us off in the regular season. Who cares? It's predictions. They're doing their job. They're doing their job. Why are we blaming Smith? If you and I was watching two different games, obviously. But yeah, they're doing their job. They're doing their job. That's all I can say. I said, take it down the chin and get ready for next game. Yeah, gotta get ready for next game. Get you in the box, man. Look, I had them boys right. Think I won't. But yeah, man, I appreciate y'all tuning into the show with your feedback and everything. We are definitely going to touch on this a little further down the road. And again, I hate losing to the Saints, but hey, shout out to the Saints. Good game. Another good rivalry game. It was a fun atmosphere in the stadium. I hope you all enjoyed watching the game. I hope you all enjoyed watching the game. Honestly, these last two, because y'all still got to come in. It was more on Pease in the fourth. Yes, everybody is talking about that fourth quarter with Dean Pease. Dean Pease is definitely more of the blame than Arthur Smith, but Arthur Smith cannot be excluded from the blame, if that makes sense. Dean Pease definitely hurt us in that game as well. He definitely hurt us. Arthur Smith did enough. We did score 26 points. But again, Dean Pease just decided he didn't want to do his thing. And I don't know, maybe he's not for the job no more. Maybe he need to go. And he said Falcons are not making through the season through McMurray. We'll see. We will see. I know if he has those fumbles like that again, we may see Ritter closer than we thought. But all right, y'all. About to wrap it up. Y'all have a good rest of the day. It's a big game coming on in about an hour. Cowboys and Bucks. I actually have the Cowboys pulling out a close game tonight. So we'll see. But until next time, this has been All In with Nate. Thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate all the support, the comments, everything. Make sure if you got friends that are Falcon fans, haven't watched the show, I'll definitely be on here talking about the Falcons, win, lose, or draw. One thing you know about me, no matter how mad this team makes me, I'm gonna be here. So hey, y'all have a good night, and we'll see what happens to these boys next week.